Everybody, Ralph Havens here. And this morning in your Facebook Live, I actually sent out a little video of Jen and me, of us talking back in 2010 when we were walking around Vancouver. We were living in San Diego, but we were walking around Vancouver, and it was just a few months after we started our first Matrix Energetics class. And we were talking about the magic of it all and how much life had changed. I think we had taken probably 6 or 7 Matrix classes at the time because we just loved to take classes and we were loading them up. So, but we recorded a video in Vancouver, and I think it's on my timeline. You can go find it from back in 2010. And I want to fast forward to 2014, really the beginning of 2015. And we had moved up here to the Pacific Northwest to this house that we're in here, but not in the way that we wanted. And we had basically come to a point where we were running on fumes. I mean, we were running on credit cards, and we had blown through hundreds of thousands of dollars. Oh, I need to start restreaming. Let me go restream this thing. So if you're on YouTube, we're restreaming on Facebook Live right now. So hang out for just a moment. I really want to get this information out to everybody. Something really cool today. So let's see if this thing clicks back in. Technology, you know? Okay, I think it's going to work this time. Let's see. Okay, this should work this time. Here we go. Okay, so Ralph Havens here, autoimmuneanswers.com. And this morning for the session, something really cool came in. I sent an earlier video out of Jen and me, of us talking about Matrix Energetics. We were walking around English Bay, one of my favorite spots of all time, English Bay, the seawall in Vancouver. And I love the way Jen talks about it. And so you can go listen to that if you find my timeline and find that. But it was back in 2010, and we had been taking Matrix Energetics classes for about half a year. I think we took about 6 of them by the time we were doing this. And saw lots of magic, lots of wonderful stuff. And we had a really cool life. You know, we lived in Mission Hills in San Diego, a really upscale part of town. We had a house in Mission Hills, a beautiful craftsman house that was almost all paid off, and later did become all paid off. We had really good cars and great friends, and it was all good. But I always dreamed of being in the Pacific Northwest too. And somehow by 2015, early 2015, we had made it up here to the Pacific Northwest, but everything had gone pretty not so good. We were burning through tons of cash. We'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this house, and it was toxic, and we couldn't live in it. So we were sleeping. Sometimes we slept out in this garage, but that was even not a good spot for us. And then we ended up in this house, but we couldn't live in it because we were all getting sick. So we were outside and burning through another 100,000 or more in cash, trying to fix it. And Jen was doing tons of work on it. And so there we were, and I didn't have a practice anymore. Nobody knew who I was up here. I barely started doing anything online or with people from around the world, and we were out of money. And so we knew we needed to do something. And so what I'm going to tell you about is a time when we had a very big decision to make, and what happened, because we used to have what I thought was everything, you know, back in San Diego. But then we got up here, and it seemed like it all went away. And so there we were, and I ended up, we realized, you know, we got to get some help. We know we can do good work. We know we do great work to help people heal from all sorts of conditions and get their lives back on track and get healthy and happy and whole. But nobody knew us hardly. And I had lowered my fees, my rates when I moved here, because I interviewed a lot of practitioners up here, and it seemed like everybody charged much less than San Diego. I thought, my gosh, I guess that's what you do, right? And so so I also interviewed some coaches because we thought, you know what, I got to figure this out. We got to figure out how to make this work again. And so I interviewed a bunch of coaches, and I found one, Kathy Wilkie, great coach. So glad I found her. And but when I talked to her, she said, Ralph, I'll work with you, but you got to raise your rates. And I'm like, I don't have a lot of clients, right? And we're like running on fumes here. All I got is credit cards at this time. And she goes, no, you got to raise your rates. It's ridiculous. And so I was like, okay. And Jen and I looked at each other. We already knew the decision was made. We needed help. And we had interviewed a bunch of people, coaches, and there's actually a thing, business coaches for healers. And so we had picked her, and so I raised my rates. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And I paid her thousands of dollars on a credit card, and we didn't know how to make it back, and we didn't know what we were doing, and we were still trying to figure out how to get back in our house. And within an hour, I got 3 calls from international people, from people all over the world, that somehow found me and wanted me at my new rates. And I'm like, holy cow, that was cool. And it wasn't like it was just all easy. It took a while, months of working with her very diligently. I mean, I worked with her 3 times a month for half a year, and she doubled our income with us working really hard at it. And I went from having a paper schedule and just scribbling things down and Xing things out and doing sessions on the phone to where I had a real business doing the work that I love to do, helping people from around the world that were already looking for me. And so I learned a valuable lesson. Back in San Diego, I was at a point when I'd just gotten, I guess you could call it a divorce. It wasn't, we weren't married, but a 10-year relationship had ended. And I was with my other therapist who I worked with, and I had a small practice, and it was very small. It was in December, and we had 5 patient visits. We called them patients, and now I call them people clients, friends. But 5 visits in a week in December, and we're sitting out. We used to go to tea all the time, me and Hanya, and because we didn't have any clients. and she goes, I said, I think I'm going to sell the house. I'm going to move to Portland, and I'm going to figure something else out. And she said, Ralph, these 2 doctors, Dr. Bressler, Dr. Tantz, will send you more people if you could move into this other place, because it was wheelchair accessible and it could take Medicare clients, but it costs twice as much. And I thought, I don't have any cash. I did have a house, I was paying on it. And so I got a home equity. First I put it on a credit card, and I just went for it. I said, you know what, I could always move. I'll just go for it. And so I put it on credit cards, and then ended up putting on my home equity line, got a home equity line of credit, put on my house, and moved in. And within a few months, I was busy for the first time in my practice. And I had taken a chance, and I went for it. And it wasn't even that scary. But I think part of it was I was on my own. There was no other people to look out for. But this time up here, I wasn't just on my own. I had Jen and I had Ben, my little boy. And the stakes were really high. I mean, if this didn't work, I didn't know what to do. I guess I could go try to work for somebody else. Again, as a physical therapist, but I didn't know what to do, but the stakes were really high. So we knew we needed help, and we went for it, and we jumped. And what's interesting, as if you're following me, I do a lot of work in the spiritual realm and energy realms, and helping people shift mindset and getting right to the core beliefs of what's in the way of people's healing and abundance. And the interesting thing is, these issues with money and these issues with business and the issues with sleeping outside and then having to figure things out and having a family to take care of, and running on credit cards, and then and starting to figure it out and going for it and getting coaches and doing this crazy hard work. That has been the biggest spiritual practice of my life. Before, when I would just meditate and try to do stuff, and I was all by myself and no family, and the stakes weren't high enough. And when I was pushed up against these barriers and the stakes were really high, and I went for it, got the help I needed and got it figured out. The universe did conspire to help me. And now that I look back, it's really cool because I can see that all those challenges, every bit of them, have been really amazing training. And the challenges have actually been the way to go deep into what's really going on and to clear it. And so that's what's been going on with us. So if you want to go find the other video of Jen and me talking back in 2010 of magic and using magic, matrix energetics to shift things in the world, you can go find that. It's really amazing. But what's really cool now is that it wasn't just using matrix energetics or magic to, mindset to help things shift. There was some stuff to do in the real world. And part of it for us was taking a chance and really going for it. So I want to give you guys that inspiration because I know a lot of people are going through a lot of tough times. And, it can be downright scary and, going through divorces and going through child custody things and having some stuff you want to do in the world, but you don't want to compromise, but it's like, how do you do it? And you can go and to a spot where you can make a real decision for yourself and then hopefully get something really big. And so that's what I want to show you, because one of the things I found through this process, so thankful for some more of my coaches, I think I've got like 5 of them that I've used since then, is that I found a way when those challenges show up to go deep into the core of what it's really all about. Without the words, without the spiritual stuff, without the meditation things, very, very primary, very what it's really about. And then a way to clear it, to really clear it. So it's done. And then the challenges were actually the training and you're at a whole other level. And so part of it is going far and part of it is using this way to like shift things when it really gets tough, when it really starts to get you deep. And so that's what I have for you. There's a PDF and a video session that I did, and it's got some of these ways to go deep into the core. Now, if you don't jump, then there's no reason to use the stuff, right? It's like you'll never bump into the uncomfortable stuff. You'll play it safe, right? But if you're watching this, then I know you're not those kind of people, right? You're like, you want to do something, and it can be really scary, but it's good to have the help and know what to do when you bump into your stuff. So that's what I want to get you. You can go find it at ralphhavens.com/enlighten up and get the PDF and video. And there's more after that. You'll be directed to another page, and there's a whole video of me talking about more of the ways to do this. And so go ahead and share this. Click like. Give me some hearts down there if you're on Facebook. Click some subscribe buttons and all that if you're on YouTube, and share it. And go grab that PDF and the video session of the stuff we used and are still using to clear the inner stuff that shows up when you really go for it. And my hope is that that you'll really take a good look and see how you can go for it, and then have a way so that you have a strategy to clear the stuff as it shows up for you. So go ahead and grab that PDF and video, ralphhavens.com/enlighten up, and try it, use it, let me know. And then look at the next video that comes up, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right. Let me just look at Facebook and see if anybody's commenting over here. Oh, look, there's another video of it's interesting how Facebook puts things up sometimes. So let's see. All right, so looks good. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye now.